All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfield show, the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And for those of you celebrating or who are interested, happy Diwali, which is the festival of lights. Wishing you all so much love, good health, prosperity, good fortune, all that wonderful stuff. And may Goddess Lakshmi shower you all with her blessings. So open up your hearts, open up your homes, and invite her into your life. All right, so let's get started today. Today, my good friend, Dr.Jean Logan is back with us. And we are going to be talking about taking charge of your health and getting it right the first time. Yes, absolutely. Right. So that is so important, right? So taking charge of our health and getting it right the first time, so that way we don't have issues as we move forward. And so, of course, for those of you who don't know Dr. Jean, she's been on our show many times, and we're going to talk today about some of the glyphs and how a small drawing on a piece of paper can kill bacteria and viruses. A picture of an insect can remove parasites from the body. How a 2-inch drawing can heal diseased glands and organs. All of that and more. We're going to talk about powerful emotional and physical healing from the light of God. We're going to talk about how you can use glyphs to save thousands on counseling, vet, and doctor bills, and remove what is holding you back, right? So emotional and physical healing from the light of God, saving thousands, experiencing the healing of the future, and removing what's holding you back. And then this powerful healing is available for you in the privacy of your own home. You don't have to go anywhere. And for those of you who don't know Dr. Jean, she is an Earth Ambassador and ordained minister. She has a doctorate in nutritional healing and has an extensive knowledge of many types of energy healing. And as a conscious channel, Dr. Jean receives a language of light in the form of symbols and glyphs that are empowered by electronic impulses from the great central sun. And she is the author of Unlocking the Power of Glyphs, Sacred Symbols of Light, Symbols of the Dawn, Sacred Symbols of the New Age, and Sacred Symbols Healing Cards. So, and her books are now in over 100 countries, with profits going to provide service to Indigenous children. So we will talk a little bit about that later in the show, because we never seem to remember to talk about that. But the profits from the sale from these shows also goes to the orphanage in Nepal, okay? And we'll talk a little bit about that later. So thank you so much, Dr. Jean, for coming back to our show, being back here with us. How are you all doing today?
Oh, I am fantastic. I'm good every day.
I love that.
I am so grateful to be alive and living at this time of it's an exciting time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And and being that it is an exciting time, we are going through some challenges, right? And so some of those physical and emotional challenges we can actually get a lot of help with from your glyphs. And so that's what we're talking about today. So can you just talk a little bit about, for people who don't know what the glyphs are, Dr. Jean, can you just give a little bit of a brief history explanation about them?
Okay, I'll just go try to keep it very brief.
Yeah.
I was I was totally different person 30 years ago. I mean, just totally different. I was a neurotic basket case, and but I was always a seeker, and I was always looking for answers. And so one time I was meditating and I saw some writing on a blackboard, and I felt that was telling me to try guided writing. So after some efforts, I finally was able to succeed getting some answers, and I practiced that every day. And I want to point that out. I practiced it every day, because when you want to do something, practice it. And so, and I got better at it. And then after a while, I asked, I was standing in the kitchen and I thought, well, I wonder if God will talk to me. And I heard very clearly, well, yes, I'll talk to you. And I thought, oh my God. And I got my notebook. Every time I would always do writing. When I get answers, I write everything down. I've got books of stuff I've written down. And I got a very simple message. You and I are one. We are one with all things. And it went on to that way. And it said that please understand that you must speak out. And that really, it kind of went over my head at the time. But I realized that I came here to speak out. And that years ago, that would have been, oh my God, I turned down a free college education because I was afraid that I would have to speak in front of people. I mean, that's where I am from and how I've gotten where I am now, because I really worked toward overcoming that fear, because fear controlled my life pitifully, pitifully. Everything in my life was controlled by fear. And so when I started receiving these glyphs to help myself. And one of the first ones I created was to remove the fear from the body. And when I started using it, I could feel stuff pulling, literally being drawn out of my breasts and out of my arms. And I kept on, I created a glyph to remove anger, to remove sadness, to remove heartache, and to remove guilt. And each time I would feel more stuff coming out of me. And then I was looking at a book by Louise Hayes, and it said one of the real problems is criticism. And I thought, oh, okay, we need to do criticism. So I created one to remove criticism. And I thought I never intended to write a book, never intended to write a book. And the more I was doing this at the time, I don't think I knew how to love anybody. But the more I did this, I just removed layers and layers of all of the emotional baggage that was holding me back from this life, past lives, wherever it was coming from. But you didn't need to know. The nice thing about the glyphs is they will remove stuff and you don't have to know what it is. You don't have to tell your deep, dark secrets to somebody. It's just, you can feel stuff coming out of you. And so I just kept working with that. And then I kept getting a little kind of a kick in the butt. I had to go to Toastmasters, which I didn't want to do, but I kept, like I was saying, I was getting a little nudge. And then I was told, you need to put this in the book. You need to write it. And that was my first book. It took me 3 years. That was big. It started in 2004 and I finished in 2008. I published my first book, Unlocking the Power of Glyphs. And I like to have quit right there, but that wasn't meant to be. I kept getting more and more information and more. And then I did my second book about 3 years later, Sacred Symbols of Light, and it kept on. And now I finished my fourth, Sacred Symbols of the New Age, which I'm glad I did, because at the time, there was a lot of things that I had no idea about in the early books. Like, for example, in Sacred Symbols of Light, I have a glyph to remove vaccinations. And now, years later, I've got a glyph to remove nanotechnology. Years ago, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't know there was such a thing. So as time went by, I would be getting more information for things that were going on in our life right now. And as this, in this kind of situation with all this, with the virus, and I got a glyph. I was told years ago that there would be this virus coming along, and I was given the symbol in my mind. I immediately saw what the picture was, and I put that out. I didn't get that out until the last couple of years, but it was just right at the right time. And the same with the vaccinations, where I got the ideas of that some people may want to remove the vaccinations from themselves or their loved ones. And so I would get this information right as things were going along. So, but at first, my first book was just starting to remove the emotional issues, because those are emotional issues are at the basis of physical illness. Sometimes people write and they say, well, do you have a glyph for lupus? Do you have a glyph for arthritis? Do you have, and I said, you need to understand, it's not like a silver bullet. You have to get to the cause. All this is symptoms. All your illnesses are symptoms. These are symptoms of something that's going on inside of you. And you can work on the symptoms. If it's your eyes, if you have cataracts or glaucoma, sure, you can work on them getting better and it can heal them. But you need to understand, why did you bring this in your life? Because whatever it is, we have brought it into our life. We all hear it all the time. We create our own reality. And
Yeah.
we draw this into our life. So when people say, oh, well, I have this and this, and we need to understand, why did we draw this into our life? And what do you need to do? What do you need to work on? And so I always tell people, start with the emotional healing glyphs and keep on using them. Keep on using them, because we have layers. It's like this big red onion. And you remove a layer and then there's another layer. You can't just dive in and get right inside. After layer after layer, inside is who you really are. And people always say, well, I want to know why I came here. I want to know what my mission, or if they came with a mission or what. And you can't just dive in and find out. You have to remove what is keeping you from seeing that. But you can, and I did. Because from coming where I had no clue, now I have no doubt. I have no doubt why I came here. I know who I am, and I know what my job is, and I could not do anything else. I could not do anything else. And from not feeling I could love anyone, now I do not know anything but love. That's all that matters in life, is love. I mean, that's, if we haven't learned that, we have, we need to go back to square one and start again, because nothing matters if you don't have love in your heart. And every 2 weeks, I have a meeting for people who want to work with the glyphs. And one of the meditations I said is, remove everything from within you that is not love. Everything.
Beautiful.
From within you. Mm-hmm.
And that love, it starts with yourself. It's not just love for everybody else. It
Right.
starts with you first. You also have to love yourself.
Yeah, because that'd be difficult sometimes, because the one person we beat up on the most sometimes is ourselves.
Absolutely. And we don't even realize we're doing it, right? So we don't even know that we are not loving ourselves as much as we could, because it's such an old habit, right? It's just a way of being. We don't even realize that that's happening until somebody says, hey, have you loved yourself today? And they're like, of course. Yeah, well, how? What did you do? How did you feel? Right? And then it takes a step back to say, yeah, did I really truly love myself today? Right? Was I kind to myself? Was I generous to myself? Was I compassionate to myself? All that wonderful stuff. Because we're like so busy doing for everybody else, we forget ourselves, right?
Absolutely. And what I tell people, if you're talking about yourself, every cell in your body hears everything you say, every thought and every word. And what I tell people, it's like you are the orchestra conductor, and every cell in your body is the orchestra members, and they will play whatever tune you tell them to play. So if you're saying, oh, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, or this hurts, I'm not getting any better, my arthritis hurts, my whatever, and never claim any illness, whatever. Every morning I jump out of bed and I say, I am divine. I have the power of God. I am unlimited. Every day, tell yourself that. You have been programmed to be disempowered. You need to be the one to re-empower yourself to be powerful. So make it a morning ritual. I am divine and I am unlimited. I am love. I am light. I am the truth. I am, every morning. Say that to yourself until it really gets drilled in there, until you really believe it, because you have the power. Everybody out there has the power of God. Everyone.
Absolutely. And we have to believe that. Otherwise, and believing comes from the heart. Thinking and saying those phrases and affirmations comes from the mind. But the more that you can train your mind to say those things, your subconscious mind will finally start to accept it and say it with feeling from your heart space the best you can, right? It's not just words that you're saying. Really feel into it and know it, know it and believe it. It makes a big difference. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you, Jean. Right. And I just wanted to say really quickly, the whole part about, everything that's happening, in our reality is because at some level we're creating it for some reason, whatever, without judgment. There's no judgment there. It's just, it's an awareness and it's an observation. When you know that empowers you. It's like, okay, so I've created this. let's change it and create something else, right?
Right, right. And sometimes it takes a lot of courage. There's people out there, I don't know what's happening in your country, but people who are losing their jobs because they don't go along with this. But then just go and trust. The whole thing is trust. You have to trust there is a divine plan, and we're all a part of the divine plan, and just go with what's in your heart. And one of the things I wanted to mention, I want to go back to the books and say the second book I wrote was the Sacred Symbols of Light. And it was kind of interesting because I would have physical problems and I would write glyphs to help with my physical problems. I had a serious heart problem. And so I wrote a glyph to heal my heart. And then my ex-husband, he had glaucoma and cataracts. I wrote a glyph to heal his eyes. And it just seemed like I would go along, one thing or another. And then I realized, okay, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. So I had Candida. I wrote a glyph for Candida, and I would just keep going on and one thing after another. So the second book is mostly a lot of the physical symptoms that we can treat and heal. And they do amazing healing. I mean, they surprised me. I thought, am I really doing this? No, I'm not doing it. This is all coming. This is the divine. People say, oh, I love your glyphs. They are not my glyphs. Okay. Just so you understand, these are not mine. Okay. These are coming. And at one time, Source said to me, you need to understand what the electrical energy is behind the glyphs. And I said, okay, tell me, what is it? And I was told that the power is when each glyph is after it's created. And then I have an empowerment ceremony, and I even built a chapel on my land on a vortex where we have the empowerment ceremony. And I have what's called a programming statement, where the glyphs are programmed with a statement, just like a computer program. If this, and then telling the glyph what it's supposed to do. And it's a sacred ceremony. And during that ceremony, the directive goes to the central sun. And the central sun sends down an electrical impulse to every glyph. And that electrical impulse will stay with that glyph as long as it exists in good condition. And so I tell people, please respect the glyphs as sacred. And when you're finished, if one is damaged, tear it in half and throw it away. And what I do for those who get the ebooks, I could tell them to go ahead and print out. There's about 130 glyphs altogether. So print out, there's 4 tables of contents from the 4 books. So I tell them, print out the table of contents, get yourself a nice binder, and then put them in the binders and look at those table of contents, because you will see the wealth of information. And also they will talk to you. You will all of a sudden see one and you think, oh, I need that, I need that, I need this. And so then you can print out pages of the glyphs that you could cut out and use them on your body. You could use them on a surrogate. There's many ways that you can use them. You can use them on your pets to heal your pets or your loved ones. And then when you print out a page of the glyphs that you use, then you can, I get the paper with the 3-hole punch, and then you can put that in that binder. So helping you keep track. And I use a high quality paper. And then if I use a glyph and it's still good, I have like a fishing tackle box. I put them in and save them, try to keep it organized and be respectful towards them. I think that's the idea, is to treat them with respect, because they are sacred. And they don't, some people say, do they need to be recharged? I think my glyphs need recharging. I said, no, they don't need recharging. They've always got the energy that they need. It will keep on. As long as the central sun is there, the glyphs will be still have the energy.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. And so you've just shared, a few different ways that people can start using the glyphs, but it is, what we always say is to start with your emotions first, right? So yes, you may have some physical issues, but what is the emotion behind it? Because like Jean said, all physical issues, they start at the emotional level first. And so the big one, of course, is fear, right? Fear, anger, judgment, betrayal, all that wonderful stuff. And so you can, but be gentle, right? It's not about like, okay, I'm just going to do 50 emotions at once. That's going to, that's too much. It's going to be, overload your system, right? Because they do work, right? They're working. So they're taking out those emotions, those toxins, all that wonderful stuff that, is not helpful for you. But it can't, take out everything at once. You have to be patient, right, Jean?
Right, right. And in the first book, it also has a glyph to remove, to do detoxing. And I tell people that you can take each page, there's pages of them, and there's 16 on a page. And I tell them take 4 of them of the detox glyph, and 4, and I tell them to include the parasite glyph, tape them on top of each other, and put them under the rib cage if you want to detox your liver. Okay, you put one of them on the crown chakra and wear it overnight. And I do that. I put a little piece of tape to give it like little wings and use a hairpin. And it will pull all the heavy metals and chemicals out of your brain. And that's something we really need, because we get so much junk in our food and in the air and whatever. That was with the first book, and then I got a glyph to resolve any virus or any bacterial problem. And with the second book, I tried to cover every organ and gland in the body, and I put in one for the men and for the women for the reproductive systems. And I tell people, they say, well, do you have anything if I'm trying to have a baby and I haven't? Well, yes, try the glyph, use a glyph. And then there's the only one, I try to stay away from it calling an illness. I just say, like there are only ones I have is candida and malignancy. And so I tell people, not can they just use the glyphs for healing a problem or helping to heal a problem, but you can also use them as preventative. Because the one if you're using the detox on your brain, you're preventing a whole lot of issues there. And there's one for healing the damaged brain. And I healed my dog of brain damage with that. And it's amazing. And we have stopped seizures in dogs using that, healing the damaged brain and removing vaccinations, even animal vaccinations that can be harmful to the animals. And so I used homeopathic vaccinations for my dogs. But yeah, there's so many different ways you can use that. And so I tell people, like for the one for malignancy, I tell women to put a strip of them in their bra and wear them for a couple of days. It's just kind of insurance policy. It would stop something before it was even noticeable. And the same with the men. I tell them to put the glyph on the sacral chakra, because prostate cancer is almost become epidemic. It's almost become epidemic. And you want to keep on with the detox one, because for example, one thing is that's becoming pretty bad now is leukemia. You hear about it for children and for adults as well. And one of the main causes of leukemia is formaldehyde. Okay. And so the glyph would remove that from the body, you see.
Yeah.
Right. So you could even use these detox to children because there's formaldehyde in so many things. So many Absolutely. Things. Right.
Wow. And so, how like today we're talking about taking charge of your health, what to say, take charge of your health and get it right the first time. So do you have like, glyphs to like add nutrients, add yes. vitamins to your system, and nutrients and vitamins and give you more energy? So I know that we have a lot that we take out, right? But yeah, right. Can we add or supplement or enhance?
Right. There is a glyph in the new book, Sacred Symbols of the New Age, for nutrition and nutritional balance. Yes. Yeah. There sure is. And there's ones for energy too, as well. There are also that, because in more than one way. And there's one even I have a situation. My sister's husband got Alzheimer's, and she used an old Edgar Casey. You've heard of Edgar Casey.
Yeah.
She used an old Edgar Casey remedy called the wet cell battery. And so she used it, and what she did, there's a very simple test for Alzheimer's. You try to get the person to write a picture of a clock on the quarter hour, any quarter hour. And she said her husband, he tried it and he had numbers and circles all over the page. It didn't look like anything like a clock. So then she used that wet cell battery on him for several months, and he did another time and it looked better. And a few months later, it was perfect. So I asked, I said, can I emulate that with a glyph? And I was told, absolutely. So I wrote a glyph for the wet cell battery.
Awesome.
And it's one that can be used for many different things and adding energy and healing a lot of different things. But so a lot of things, I got little, I would hear something or read a book and something would come to me and I would create a book that would help, not a book, create a glyph that would help with some area of our life.
Awesome. No, thank you. And I'm sure people also ask you for certain glyphs as well, right? Can you do a glyph for this or that?
Right, they do. And I have people write and say, can you send me this glyph? And one thing I don't sell individual glyphs, and I tell people the use of the glyphs is a path. It's a healing path. And we have to be willing to, people who are interested in a healing path are the best people to be using the glyphs. If you want to fix one thing that's wrong, you have to stop it and think it's going to take more than one glyph. It's going to take more than one glyph. Because there's at least about 8 of the glyphs in the first book for emotional issues, and we've got them all. I mean, we have hundreds of lifetimes. We have done everything. We have murdered. We have been murdered. So we have a lot of fears and remorse and whatever. And some people don't believe we bring anything with us when we come into a new life. And some of us maybe here for the first time. But a lot of people really feel like they experience things that came from past lives, and it can help with that.
Absolutely. And it's not just from past lives, it's also when we were younger children that we don't even remember some stuff, so
even in the womb. Yes, even
absolutely.
In the womb.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of unpleasant energies in our cells, in our cellular memory, in our energy field that we could all use a little bit more assistance with. And when we start to use the glyphs, it starts to improve our way of life, right? Our quality of life starts to improve.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sure does. It made all the difference to me, And I get so many emails, and sometimes it's almost embarrassing because people are so grateful and they say, oh, thank you. And I feel like I don't deserve the thanks. I appreciate that it helps them, but it's not me. It's not me.
But it came through you, right? It came through you.
It's come through. Yeah, it came through. It's coming through me. Right.
Absolutely.
Apparently I signed on for this, I guess, before I came in.
Yes, you said, how can I serve, right?
It's a good job. I have a job.
Exactly.
For years, I worked for the Department of the Army, and I thought, what am I doing here? And now I have a real job.
One that doesn't feel like a job, right?
No, it's a lot of work though. And I'm married to my work. I'm married to my work. That's okay.
Oh, I hear you. I totally can understand that. Okay, so I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you have any questions for Dr. Jean, please raise your hand or type your questions in the chat. Whether it's about glyphs, how to use glyphs, how to use glyphs for certain things. So, I'll give you an example, right? So Dr. Jean, I've been noticing lately that I have, like my wrists are sore, my ankles are sore, my hips are sore, my knees are a little bit sore, like all the joints are all a little bit sore for some reason. I'm not doing anything. I mean, I'm walking every day, I'm doing my treadmill every day, so I'm exercising, but I'm feeling like a little bit of soreness for some reason. So what can I use to help with that? This is just an example. I just want people to
Okay,
hear the
all right,
question.
and I get a lot of that. And first of all, and I don't start just the glyphs. I tell people in the beginning of the book, I make this very clear, you have to eat right. You have to get some exercise. And if you're eating a diet that's causing a lot of acid in the body, then that's going to take its toll on the cartilage in your joints. So we have to eat food that is alkalizing to the body. We have to watch it when it comes to coffee and sugar and white rice and all the starchy foods that are that may be robbing us of the cartilage of the robbing our bones of the minerals that they need. So I start with that. Now there is a glyph for cellular repair and one for bones, and they do help a lot. They can help rebuild that cartilage. But we have to realize, and with any illness, and cancer is another one, I say that sure the glyph will help with malignancy, but we have to do the work. We have to be willing to change our diet, what's going on in our life. We have to be willing to make some changes. Anytime you're trying to heal an illness or even aches and pains, is we have to be willing to make some changes in our life.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Thank you. And so Martha's asking, can I use more than one glyph on me at a time, such as an emotional one and then a physical one?
Yes, yeah. I tell people to start kind of easy, just a couple at a time. And as you get used to them, you can go ahead and try more. The emotional ones, if you're moving energy, if you're trying to move it too fast, you will get woozy. One man said he put some on the back of his heart, like 4 or 5, and when he got out of bed in the morning, he almost fell over. So you've got to be kind of careful that you don't overwhelm yourself. Don't put a whole bunch on and then want to drive somewhere, because if you're using too many, it will really unbalance you there for a minute. It won't cause any damage, but you've got to remember you're moving energy. If you're using a whole bunch of physical ones, it's trying to heal. If you're trying to heal your heart and your lungs and everything at the same time, it can be painful. If you try to speed it up too fast, it can be painful. But like, for example, when I went through my divorce, I piled 4 or 5 of them on top of each other. I had the one for anger, for resentment, for heartache, for sadness, for whatever, for fear, and I put them on my solar plexus, and it did help. But of course, I've been using them for a while, but I did pile 4 or 5 on. I don't know if I recommend that, but whatever, there is no wrong way to use the glyphs. If you're trying to heal something and it becomes painful when you're trying to heal it, back off a little bit. Don't try to use so many, or don't use them so long.
Exactly. And be gentle with yourself, right? So this is about, you recognizing what you need, what your body needs, and how much you can handle at a time as well, right? So be gentle. It didn't all have to be done in one day, because whatever you're experiencing didn't all happen at once. It's just been building up over time, right? So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to release as well and clear. So give yourself that space to allow that.
Right. I just saw the question come up there, that can we laminate the glyphs? Yes, I've done that. Now the hard lamination, where you put them through that machine, that's too hard. It would be too uncomfortable on the body. But I did that, and I tried even using the clear packing tape. And I did that. But I just feel like what I prefer now is to get a higher quality paper that will last longer, and do it that way, because I just feel like it's like with if you use crystals, would you put your crystals in a little plastic bag? I would not. I mean, I feel like they're little, the glyphs are alive, okay? They have consciousness. I talk to them. I say, this is your team. When I'm working on with a surrogate, I said, this is my team. And every week I said, okay, guys, we're working on this person who's got this problem. And then I check in with them once a week and say, okay, we're going to change this or change that. So this is your team, and they have consciousness, and they are kind of remarkable. They have intelligence. There's times when really I get really strange people write and they say, well, I'm using for the glyph for this, but it's helping with this other thing, you know, and I think, okay, if it works, and I give
Right.
her, I put it on one end of the body, and all of a sudden I'm feeling something in my feet or something. So the glyphs seem to have their own, there's an intelligence there that we cannot always comprehend.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't laminate them. I just use them as they are. But I mean, the thing is, when you purchase the ebooks, for example, you can print them off as many times as you want, right? So it's not like you don't have them forever, right, Dr.
Mhm.
Jean?
Yes,
So,
right.
so it doesn't. You can always print them out again. So there's a question. Oh, Martha had a second question. For those we are helping, can we put a glyph on a teddy bear for more than one person at a time?
No, I would suggest you use another teddy bear. You can even use a sheet of paper, and you just have a sheet of paper where you put their name on and what you want, what glyph you want them to use, and how long you wanted to use it. But if you've got two people, I would get yourself a couple teddy bears. You want to keep it separate. The glyph has got to know where it's sending the energy to.
Yeah.
So I think, and just like you would have a different piece of paper for different people. If you got 3 people, you have 3 pieces of paper with their name on it. I put the name, the date, and what we're trying to do and how long we want them to use it. And I saw someone, a message just came by, is there something unconscious in me that could keep me from having luck with the glyphs? Yes. If you are a skeptic, if you have a negative attitude about, you think, oh, I don't think they're going to work for me. As soon as you say that, you're going to cut that energy in half. Okay. They work great on pets because pets have no judgment. They have no expectations. They have no ego, and they have no guilt. Okay. So if you, like, one woman was having a problem, and she said, we finally narrowed it down that she had a belief that I don't deserve to be healed. She was carrying this belief probably from a past life. I don't deserve to be healed.
Right.
So if you have skepticism, or if you have a belief that you don't deserve healing, then you have to go back to, there's in the first book, there's glyphs to remove vows from this or past lives, and also to remove ancestral issues from past lives. If you've got family issues, you've got a hereditary, so-called hereditary illness. What I tell people, if you got a hereditary illness, and your father had it, and your grandfather had it, and your great-great-grandfather, if you might have been your great-great-grandfather, so then who are you going to blame? Okay. So if you've had it, and they've had it back for, like I got with my ex-husband, that he had glaucoma for the last 6 lives, and then you're here to heal that problem. Then it's time you came up and let's heal that problem. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Sometimes people can't wrap their head around, I was my great-great-great-great-grandfather or grandmother. Yes. Why not? Madalena was asking, how long do you keep a glyph on for? It depends, right?
Yeah, it depends a lot. Emotional issues can go real quickly, but there's always more. So you use them repeatedly. But when it comes to nerves heal rapidly, there's glyphs to heal the damaged nerve bundles and different. But when it comes to tissue, that heals a little slower. If you're healing bones and ligaments, it takes a little longer. You have to stop and think about what it is you're trying to heal. There's no way to use them too long. There's no wrong way to use them. If you need to use it a couple hours and you leave it on for a week, there's no harm done. It won't hurt anything. Okay. So you just, and in the books also, there's dowsing charts for those of you who who can dowse a little, I encourage you to try to use them. And I encourage people to try to learn to dowse. That can be a very useful thing in your life, is use a pendulum to dowse different things. It can come in so handy, even like picking your supplements. Do I need this calcium? Do I need, and so forth, or and which glyphs should I use? And then there's a little chart saying, okay, if I'm getting that, I should use glyph number 35. And then it has a chart saying, okay, where in my body should I put glyph number 35? And so there's a chart having all the different chakras and so forth, where to help you pinpoint where you should use that glyph. And sometimes the back chakras on the back side are often from past lives.
Awesome, thank you. And Madeline is asking, is there a glyph that helps getting one unstuck and relief from procrastination?
Yes, there's one. It's called focus. And I should have to wear that focus. I'm going to have that one made into a tattoo, because I can turn my head around and be lost. Just the other day, I went to Walmart and I thought, I need some Epsom salts. I went down the aisle for the Epsom salts and I thought, oh, here's some shoe inserts. I went and left and I forgot the Epsom salts. I mean, talk about focus.
Well, going into a store, it's easy to get distracted, right? For sure.
Right.
Somebody was asking, what are the names of the book? Maribel was asking, what are the titles of the book? There's Unlocking the Power of Glyphs, The Sacred Symbols of Light, Symbols of the Dawn, and Sacred Symbols of the New Age. So I just put the link for the special offer page in the chat. That way you can see what the books are and a little bit more description about them. Okay, and that's alara.at/show/Jean11, just so you can take a look. Let's see here. Lots of questions. Linda's asking, what glyph for someone who is addicted to alcohol? She said, my son is 33 years old.
Okay, first I would start. There's one, was glyph number 50, is called Reaching Out. And you can use this for all your family members, your loved ones, and they don't have to know anything about it. You ask permission from their soul. When you set up the glyph, you have the glyph, a page. I take a whole page of all 16 and I get these little tiny yellow sticky pads and I write down the name of the person. I write down the date. And then I set an intention. I intend that the energy and the directive from this glyph will be directed toward this person. There's an affirmation. Each glyph has an affirmation or a statement. And you say the affirmation, or if you can rewrite your own, if you want, write your own prayer. And then it will send the glyphs, it will send the energy every night. It will remove a layer of fear, a layer of sadness, a layer of heartache, because addiction is emotional issues. And the same with weight problems, an emotional issue, with an addiction to anything. And you have to remove, like, why do people buy? They want to buy. And because they get a satisfaction from buying stuff because there's something missing in their life. So you just have to keep using that, use that reaching out glyph. And then after 6-8 weeks, it started again. Tell it start over from the beginning, and you just keep on. You cannot change anybody's free will. So you just make a statement if their soul is in agreement. And if their soul is in agreement, it'll fine, it will work. If their soul is not in agreement, it's not going to work. It could be that that person has a lesson that they've chosen to learn by living so many years in alcoholism, and we don't know what that is. So we just go about and do the best we can at helping them. And many times it works. I've seen that help many times. I thought my kids would never get anywhere spiritually. I thought they just aren't getting it. And then all of a sudden one was signing up for a meditation class at some Buddhist monastery, and the other one was reading Conversations with God. So it was just a total surprise to me. So they're going to get it someday. And but go ahead, and I keep running that same one for them all the time. And there's another glyph for spiritual and enlightenment, to elevate their spiritual consciousness. And you can use that one as well. I sometimes have them, both of them on people at the same time. I have one for President Trump. I have the one to remove emotional issues, and I have the one for spiritual enlightenment on. And I just ask his guides, if his soul is willing, that's fine. Okay, then it works. Okay.
So if my soul is willing, so somebody said in the chat earlier, Lisbeth said, I have full trust in them, but I have the feeling that they don't work for me. So can she say if it's in alignment with my soul? Because
yes,
I think
she could.
Right.
Okay, but you see, right now she's got an issue. She's got this, I'm not deserving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
They won't work for me because I'm not deserving. There's something wrong with me that it won't allow that. So
Yeah.
she has to be willing to let go of that, and to if she's using them, and what I say is, think like a dog. The dog doesn't think anything. Just let go. Stop judging right away. It's judgment, and judgment will really get in the way.
Absolutely, totally agree. So Tara, yes, all this information is in the books, because she said is all the information that Dr. Jean is sharing in her books. This is awesome info, however, a lot to digest at one time. Yes, all this information is in the books for sure. But you can always go back and watch or listen to this recording again for sure, because Dr. Jean always shares a lot, but it is all in the books for sure. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff out there. I have stuff on YouTube. I have, because I want to give people all the help that they could get. Yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot to start out with, but you just start with page 1 of the first book and just go there. Take your time.
Start somewhere. Start at page 1 in book 1. Yeah.
Don't let it get yourself overwhelmed.
And I'm sure there's a glyph for overwhelm.
Yeah, and there's a group on Facebook too. We have it's for Dr. Jean's Healing Glyphs, and people join and they get to exchange different thoughts and things with each other.
Awesome. Sanj is asking, is there any glyphs that can help with financial blocks? Yes, I think there are.
Yes, right. Well, the biggest block to financial things is fear. Fear. But again, you start work with those emotional healing glyphs. There is a glyph for financial abundance, is to release whatever is holding you back from financial abundance. See yourself as abundant, and you will be. And that fear is the biggest thing. If you think, I don't have enough, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're not going to have enough. Okay. Just see, I have everything. God is good to me. I have everything I need. Everything comes to me. And that takes time. It's hard to overcome fear. That's why it's important to use that glyph for fear. You can use again and again and again and again.
Yeah, and it releases layer by layer by layer for sure.
Right. Yes, there's a glyph and there is the financial abundance one. Also, well, there's usually a little financial reward. What size that will be depends upon your frequency.
Roxana is asking, how do you find the glyphs that are good for you? We talked about that at the beginning. Print out the table of contents, use the pendulum, or body test, and ask which one, but start with the emotional ones first in book 1. Always a good place to start. And the thing is, we all have emotional baggage that we can release, that we can let go of. We all do. We're here, we all do. Okay. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Let's see, Janine is asking about healing broken teeth and growing new teeth.
There's a glyph for dental healing. But it is, you got to realize the hardness of a tooth in this 3-dimensional reality makes it slow. I'll have to admit to that one. It is slow. I could tell when I use it, I can tell it's working, but it is slow when it comes to trying to repair a broken tooth. A lot of it, you have to recognize you have that power. And if you put your intention, if you see it as done, it will work faster than if you say, I wonder if it'll work. So seeing something is done, adding your intention and your belief and your power to it will make any one of these work faster. Any glyph will work faster if you put your power of intention to it. The glyph has energy, but you have as much energy. So you take that energy and you add it in. Like I say, it works great on animals because they're not getting in the way and they're not able to add that energy to it. But we do. We have the ability to add our belief and our energy. And there's people that say, oh, and I heard about the glyphs. I knew it was going to work. And by golly, it did, because it really clicked right away for them. But if you're having doubts about it, expectations or judgment, with the teeth are going to take longer to repair, definitely.
Yeah. Can we see some glyphs? Yeah, if you go to the special offer page, there's some glyphs there. But Dr. Jean, do you have any glyphs there with you right now in front of you that you can share?
Oh, yeah, I've got the books, and I do have printed books, but I really think the ebooks have a lot to offer. For instance, here's the antibacterial glyph. And each glyph, they have a front page which has a large picture, and it tells you, has all the information on what how to use it and what it will do. And then there's a page of 16 right here, like I was saying. And I have the 16, like this is if you were going to work on just a detox glyph, you would use these 4 to put under your liver. Okay. Yeah, and you cut them out, and although you don't want to cut them out of if you got the books, you don't want to cut them out of the books. You would still have to, because no matter what you're going to do, you're going to have to print them out. In the ebooks, you can print right from the screen. You can print it right from the screen. It's all ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Josiane was asking about the different size. So yes, it's the small ones that you're using, not the big one with the description. It's the small ones that you're using. Right.
Yeah. Very rarely would you use a big one. Now I did have I used one. I was down working on a pond here, and I was raking leaves off the pond, and a yellow jacket got under my shirt and bit me about 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And I had an inflamed area about 4 or 5 inches across. It was that big across. And so in that case, I went to the ebook and I printed out the large picture of it and cut it out and taped it over there, because I had a swollen area. By the time I got to the house, if I had been able to get to it right away, it would have healed it right away. But when it comes to an insect bite, if it's had time to work in your body, it's going to take longer to heal. So I tell what I really need to do, and because I'm real allergic to these things, is carry one with me when I go out. Mm-hmm. And if I get a bite and I put it on right away, even a mosquito bite, it's gone. And the bite is gone. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the only time you use the big ones.
Right. So normally it's just the little ones, and you can use 4 at a time, and
right.
Use your judgment as well, right? So ask yourself to ask your knowing as well. Maribel is asking, how about for purpose of life purpose? Are there any glyphs for that? Finding or living your life purpose.
Okay, this is again when we talk about the big onion. Mm-hmm. And the glyphs, the emotional healing glyphs, and in the physical ones too, they're removing layers of the onion. Okay, down in the middle, that little piece down in the middle, right? Even as you get close to that, as you start getting close to that, all of a sudden things will be happening in your life. People will be coming into your life, or things where books or something will come your way that will start to awaken you to your life purpose. But the thing that is keeping it from you is all these issues that we're holding.
Absolutely. And is there, Angela's asking, is there a glyph for a slipped disc?
Yes, there's one for the vertebrae, and it works very well for a slipped disc, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So that's probably in book 2, right?
Yes, it sure is. Mhm.
But work with book 1 as well, okay?
Yes,
Work
and
with the
remember,
emotions too.
if you're having vertebrae issues, again, are you following a diet that could be damaging your cartilage? So you need to have to think about that. And also with the spine, exercise is so important. And I do exercises where I was told that we should do some exercise where we have our legs over our head. It's so important to take care of your legs because the legs are the first to go. And if you just go to a nursing home or old people's home, you'll see all them with their walkers and their canes.
Mhm.
And so you need to take care of your legs. So always I do exercise. I was told to do this, laying on my back with riding a bicycle, moving my body one way with my head the other way. Keep that spine going. Keep your spine limber. And dancing is so important. Now that it's, even if you don't like to dance, put on some boogie woogie music and just wiggle it all around, because that keeping that spine young is so important. Our age has nothing to do with those numbers. The only time you need those numbers is for your driver's license or Social Security, because your brain doesn't care how many numbers are on your birth certificate. It doesn't care about those numbers. It's how you take care of your body.
Yeah, absolutely. Sanj is asking, can we permanently tattoo a glyph on our body?
Permanent tattoos are not a good idea. It's injecting poison into you. And I know people have said, oh, my guide said it's okay, but you cannot get injected, especially when you come to the colors like red, and as a certain amount of it is going to get into your liver, your kidneys. And I don't recommend any permanent tattoo, but I do have temporary tattoos for the glyphs that can be purchased after one uses the books and understands the glyphs. Certainly you would get the books before you consider a temporary tattoo. I just started that, where I got a few of them for the anger and sadness and so forth of the temporary tattoos, which people seem to be happy with. Yeah, just as because they are probably great for children too.
Absolutely. And Martha's asking, is there one for bladder infection or incontinence?
Yes, there's one for the bladder. Absolutely. And one of the things although there's one for the bladder, there's also one to help for muscle regeneration. So when you're talking about incontinence, I would suggest using not just the one for the bladder, but also to repair muscles that have atrophied. And that's another situation where exercise is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you. Wow, there's some really great questions. Is there one, Linda L is asking, is there one for expanding our capacity to hold and maintain more light? Because you did mention the spirituality one.
Right. As we remove all the issues, if we let go, as I talked about before, each time I have the meditation for the glyph people on Zoom, I ask them to remove anything from their body that is not light. And as we continue that practice, if we look for the light in everyone and avoid judgment and don't talk about other people, don't judge other people. Everybody's on their own path. And it's easy to get involved in gossip. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Someone called me and they said, so-and-so has come looking for a job. Do you recommend this person? In a situation like that, then you have to be honest. I have to tell them if the person was stealing money from me, then I have to tell them. But other than occasions like that, where it's an absolute necessity, or where you called for a jury trial for someone, and then you've got to tell the truth. But don't get involved in gossip and leave other people alone. Practice that. Years ago, that book came out, Ask and It Is Given. And one of the things is a law of allowing. You live your life the way you want and allow other people to live. If they're not bothering you, they're not hurting you, then leave them alone. It doesn't matter what they're doing.
Absolutely. And the thing
If
is,
it doesn't.
the more work that you're doing with yourself, letting go of fears, letting go of judgments, resentment, all that stuff, your own light is going to shine even more. So you
Right.
are light already, right? So it's
Right.
not about, having the capacity to hold more light. It's like once you release the baggage that's there, your light will just shine and you are that light. So it's just, it's you have to understand that it's not about us holding more light. We are pure light, right? But it's like being dimmed and held in because of all of our resentment, bitterness, anger, judgment, etc. All that stuff.
And
that's
have
what's holding our light in. So
Right.
hopefully that makes sense.
And have integrity. Be
Absolutely.
a person of integrity.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Linda L. Thank you. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the package, and so again, we want to share this little bit as well, that all the profits from the packages goes towards an orphanage in Nepal that Dr. Jean is sponsoring. Dr. Jean, do you want to talk about the orphanage a little bit? We never talk about them.
We've worked a lot with them. We worked for a while. We did a lot of work down in Peru, and then the government came in and took over the school that we were supporting. So the one in Nepal, we're supporting a number of remote villages too, where we would pay the teachers and we would feed them some lunch. And right now, this one orphanage that I've been sponsoring for years, some of the children have just gone on to college, and we're paying their tuition.
Nice.
So
wow. That's amazing.
When they run out of kids, there's plenty of other ones that we can help out.
Absolutely.
There will never be a shortage of children who need help.
No. That's for sure. And I do the same. It's not a whole orphanage, but it's one child that I sponsor, and I started last year, and it's like, until she finishes high school and whatever, I'm going to continue, because they don't have the money to afford at all. And it's like, what a great opportunity to be able to support a young child so that they can better their future, better the future of their family and their community. And, it ripples out big time. Now
here, we have on Facebook, there's a page called Holy Ground Farm. The name of the nonprofit is Holy Ground Farm. There's a page there. On my website at Dr.Jean Logan, we have more information about what we're doing, what we did in Peru, and I helped for a time in Africa, and now what we're doing in Nepal. But also where I live, I'm in the mountains of North Carolina, and we have 58 acres of donated land. And in my mind, I see a center for children, a healing center for children. And I just know, I've been told that it would come to pass. And as things kept happening, where somebody came in and volunteered to put roads in and everything, and so little things keep happening to make me realize that there's definitely something that's going to be happening someday. But right now, I don't know if I would have time for anything else. But it will all come into light at the same time. And I'm just seeing in my mind that the people who want to be involved will come. It's build it and they will come. I don't know, but it'll all come together. So the right people are out there. They just
absolutely
will be guided here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's amazing. So yeah, if you can support Dr. Jean, please do so. So again, the packages are available at alar.at/show/Jean11, and there's two packages, package A and B. And package A includes the 4 manuals, the 4 healing manuals, and the sacred symbol of Mu ebook. And then package B is everything in package A, plus the programming statements, plus a one hour personal consultation with Dr. Jean. So the 4 books we've talked a little bit about, and you can see them on the page. and then the programming statements and the 1 hour personal consultation with Dr. Jean. Dr. Jean, you want to talk a little bit about that, about how they can use that? So this is more for if you're wanting to use them for clients, etc., right?
Clients or teaching. There's people who actually contact me and want to teach others how to use the glyphs. But each glyph has a programming statement that we use to empower it. That programming statement does not go in the book because some of them are quite extensive. They may even be more than a page long. And so when I started the Zoom group, we re-empowered every glyph with a large number of people. And we organized it. Every single one is in this book of Pam. There's about 40, or I don't know, it's 20 pages or 40 pages of the empowerment statements. There's no glyphs in them. They are empowerment statements for the glyphs that are in the book. But reading those would help people if you have clients and you want to think, well, you want to dig deeper and to see what would this glyph actually do. It would, these programming statements would be very helpful. And then there's the 1 hour consultation that can be divided into 30 minutes because 1 hour is not really needed most times. 30 minutes is plenty. And they do not expire. People come back, and I realize there are people their lives are overwhelming, and so their books go on in their machine, and then a year later, they're getting something is nudging them, telling them to start using them. And they say, can I still get my consultation? Yes, they do not expire. Your consultation does not expire, but do keep your receipt.
Yeah, absolutely. And so all of the books are all ebooks, and you can download them and print them out. And then you can print out the page of glyphs as many times as you want. And of course, because these are all digital products, there is no refund. But and it's not just that. It's like, Dr. Jean is really doing this to help the orphanages in Nepal, the teachers there, etc. So it's more of it's kind of like a donation-based package, really. And so if, that's why there's no refunds. So, but these glyphs, I mean, you can see some of the testimonials that are there. And, people always talk about how much they use these glyphs and how well they're working. Usually we have some people on the call who usually share as well, their experiences with the glyphs. So if there's somebody on the call now who has been using them and you want to share, please do so. But yes, there's there's the 4 books, but if you're brand new to Jean's work, start with the first one and then the second one and then so on. Okay. And
yeah, we talked about I have one person who her father had a collapsed lung in the hospital. And so she used the lung glyph on him remotely, and she got a picture of the ultrasound. And she used the one glyph remotely. 38 hours later, they took another ultrasound, and the lung had healed. And so she got both of the ultrasound pictures that she sent to me. And she also had a dog that had seizures and contacted me. And that is one thing with children or with anybody. Seizures in animals or people is extremely hard to resolve because there's really no answer for them by medicine. Prescription drugs is not the answer. You have to heal what's damaged, and you have to remove the toxic matter that's causing it. So some of these glyphs, absolutely amazing. This one person did these. She sent 3 testimonials. She healed her sister of a tumor on her foot with remotely. And I'm just blown away because some of these people are doing amazing things with these glyphs.
And that's the thing. It's like, play with it, right? Experiment with it. See what feels good to you to try it out with, But if you have like a million things that are wrong, don't try and fix everything at once. Start with one thing at a time and go from there. So Tara is saying, how do the glyphs remove the negative effects of COVID and flu vaccines? Don't the vaccines get into the bloodstream and attack certain organs and glands, just like tattoos? She says, I chose to get vaccinated so that I could babysit my grandson, etc. Yeah, no, there's no there's no judgment, Tara. You don't have to explain why.
Right, I can understand that. Yes, there's two glyphs. There's one in the second book just to remove vaccinations. So then when I got to the fourth book, that was when I found out about the nanotechnology and the blood clots. And so I have glyphs in that fourth book to remove the nanotechnology, to remove resolve any of the blood clot issues, and to detox the graphene oxide that's in the glyph, and what some people say, I have to get the shot or I'll lose my job. Okay, is there something I can wear while I'm getting it? Yes, you can wear the glyph to remove a vaccination while you're getting it. I suggest people to hold out as long as they can, because there's so many lawsuits going on right now that these companies, like look what happened with Southwest Airlines. They told them they all had to get the shot, and then all these people walked off their job. And then they came back and says, well, we've changed our mind. You don't need the shot anymore. And if you stand your ground, sometimes they will back down, but there are lawsuits galore going on, and that's going to change everything. That's going to, this whole thing is going to shift real quick.
Yeah, it has to. It's been, ridiculously crazy.
But the glyphs will clear from the body whatever the vaccination has put in there.
Awesome. So Martha's asking, so in the consultation, does Dr. Jean look at us and suggest the glyphs that are appropriate for us?
Well, I ask people what's going on. I just can't, I have to find out a little bit about them. And oftentimes I do get information. I will suddenly get, oh yeah, they need this or they need that. And sometimes I will even get oftentimes I will call someone back, because I will get a message after we're off the phone and call them. I know one man, he was upset because his father mistreated him, and he didn't know if his father loved him, and his father had passed away. And so after I was off the phone, I received a message from his father, and it says, please tell my son I didn't know how to be a father. And so I called the man back right away and I said, and your father said he does love you. And that man, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about. He was so grateful to hear that. So it's different for every time. And there's other time where I was talking to the woman and I felt like I was looking at a brick wall, because she was so closed that I couldn't see into her to help her out. I could only ask her questions and give her some indication what to do. So it depends upon the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Angela is asking, do you have a glyph for macular degeneration?
Yeah, the one
we talked
for
about
eyes,
that before. Yeah.
The one for eyes is also programmed it works for glaucoma and for cataracts, and also it's programmed to work for macular degeneration.
Yeah.
But again, that's another, most of the eye issues are not really coming from the eye, they're energy problems. But the glyph, the book tells you the instructions. You put the glyph more on just not the eyes, you put it on various energy points of the body, and the book will tell you where to do that.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. Maribel, how about the virus? So not the vaccine, not the vaccination, but how about the virus? Is there a glyph for that?
Absolutely. But what I tell people is, see yourself as this powerful being. If you believe in your power, you are above the frequency of the virus. But what can really destroy your frequency is fear. So if you fear getting this virus, it brings your frequency down. See yourself as immune to everything, and you will be.
Yeah. How about a glyph for intuition? Is there a glyph for intuition to increase your intuition or access your intuition?
Again, that will be as you remove a lot of the emotional issues that you're carrying. That just goes with the program. Yeah. Yes, you definitely will improve your intuition.
Yeah. And this last one, I don't even know what it is. Keratoconus? I don't even know what that is.
They'd have to explain that to me. I'd have to look that up. A lot of times people do ask me, and I grab my medical encyclopedia and look it up, but I don't
Yeah.
know if
Jos-
that's
Josiane, I think you're
it's for
unmuted.
the
Go ahead.
eyes. Yeah, right. That's what I figured it is. Yes, it should. It's basically programmed to heal any disease of the eye. So it just looks at the and seeks out. There are glyphs that literally will seek out issues and will reside, as it does that, it will resolve the issues. A glyph for bronchitis, yes, there's a glyph for the lungs. There's one for a lot of people who have emphysema. It will help emphysema too. You have bronchitis is a bacterial thing, so you would use the one for the lungs and for the bacterial issues. And many times you will use more than one glyph at a time.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. Thank you. Whew, lots of questions. But the thing is, even though we have a lot of questions, even though people are, wondering about certain things, it's really easy to use. Like these glyphs are really easy to use. You just cut up like 4 of them and put them wherever you require them, right? It's not that hard. And then, so Dr. Jean, what if, like, you're talking about, you can feel the energy leaving you. What if you're not a feeler, right? There are lots of people who are not feelers.
Yeah, I notice about 80% of the women or more will feel it. Actually, it seems like it's more now than it was years ago. And because I thought the men didn't, but now I notice there are a lot of men who feel, and it's always working. It is always working. And it's important to get out of the way. If you don't feel something, don't think, oh, I don't feel anything. I guess it's not working. That, the dog's not saying that. So the dog is not saying that. So
exactly. Just believe, and also tell yourself,
just let go.
Everything it works out for me. Everything is working for me. If you have that thought or belief in your being that nothing works for me, start changing that. Start saying, yes, everything works for me. And see how that starts to shift and change it. But also just be an allowance of whatever the glyph is doing. Be an allowance of how the energy is moving, because this is like with the glyphs, the energy is moving. So allow it to move. Don't get stuck on it. It has to feel a certain way. It has to look a certain way. My life has to change in a certain way, because then you're going to get stuck. And then it's like, you're restricting the flow of the energy. Right, Dr. Jean?
Yes, that's right. I just saw the one about if you don't have a color printer, now people who use black and white say they can feel it working. And just intend it work. Remember, you have the power of intention. You say, well, I don't have a color printer, but I intend that this worked just as well as if it was power. And that your intention can override anything. And there is on my website, there is a question and answer thing with about 40 different questions to answer just like this. And they cover all of this about lamination and paper and so forth. Right?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I didn't have a color printer either. I only had a black and white, and now I have a color printer. But when I was printing my glyphs, they were in black and white. They worked just fine. I had no problem. I didn't even think about that. It's like, oh, they're not in color. I didn't even. My mind didn't go there at all. It just went in. It just went to like, all right, let's do this. Let's try it out. Let's play with it. Let's see what happens, right? And I remember. Because I remember the first time I used them, it was because I had a cold or the flu or something, and I put it on my chest because it was my lungs, I guess you could say, and I felt it right away. I mean, like I felt it. I am a feeler, yes, but I felt it right away, and they were not color; they were black and white. So yes, absolutely, that's not an issue. Good. Any other questions, anybody? Oh, just so, because I sometimes forget to talk about this, because I say this during every show. But the packages, there's a 24-hour special. Please use gift code TACS10 if you'd like to receive a 10% discount on the 2 packages. Again, TACS10 should be working.
Okay, something I forgot to tell them, and I should have brought an example around. I've learned a few years ago, I had allergies. I had hay fever. And so I'm always using this glyph for allergies. And so I thought, well, I wonder if I could put that glyph on a dropper bottle and program it to work like a homeopathic. And so I went ahead and I did that. And then when you create, that's a frequency. It's not exactly a homeopathic, it's more like a frequency medication. And so you succuss it, you tap it each time. I put the glyph on the bottle for allergies and I tapped it like that and I used it and it worked. And I no longer have to use the paper glyph from the book. I use it from the little dropper bottle. And so I tried it with another one and the other one worked. And I thought, oh, this is great. So I have several little dropper bottles with glyphs taped on them. And that really works. There's a glyph for C60. Some of you might know what C60 is, but you'd have to look that up to understand. It's in the 4th book. And I put that in the C60, you put on a bottle of oil. And I have it on a little bottle of avocado oil. And it works because C60, if you buy it online, it is expensive.
It's expensive. I looked at it. I tried to buy it. It would have cost me $200, you know.
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous. And then
Yeah.
it says olive oil. I don't want to, I use avocado oil. I didn't care for, olive oil is great on a salad, but to me, it wasn't what I would, you know. So that's, other than that, the others I use water, and then I use a little bit of, you use some type of alcohol, a little vodka or some whiskey in there as a preservative, and in your little dropper bottle, or vegetable glycerin, something to preserve it, because you don't want to just have water. And if you're using a dropper bottle, if it's a spray, it may be all right, but a dropper bottle may get bacteria in there.
Got it.
Water
Absolutely.
for purification. Yes, there's a glyph for water for purification. I have the glyph for water for purification, and I have a page of them, and I have bottles sitting on there, and I have a pond, and the pond was getting real sickly looking. And so I take a bottle down there and I pour some in the water, and every few days I would go pour some on, and it really cleared up my pond. Yes, there's a water purification glyph, right?
There's a question from Maribel about passing exams. Can you use glyphs to help you pass exams?
Well, you're going to have to study, but I think the glyph for focus may be very helpful. Focus is very, because sometimes it's difficult to focus when you're taking an exam. And also the glyph for fear, if you fear not passing an exam. And then there's another one for anxiety. I would take the glyph for anxiety, and I would take the glyph for fear, and I would take the glyph for focus, and I would put them all in my solar plexus.
Yeah, awesome, good. And Martha's asking, can I tape a thyroid glyph to my medication, as my body hasn't seemed to accept the thyroid prescription very well?
I can't tell. Before, when you got medication, take all your bottles of medication. And what is you say, I bless this, I consecrate it, I intend it for my highest good, I intend it to remove anything that is toxic for my body. And when you're saying that is in harmony with your body, that should help you. But I was told to use the thyroid glyph, and I put it on my neck, my throat chakra, and I could feel stuff being drawn out of the thyroid. So that the glands are very sensitive to toxic matter. So if you have thyroid or other glandular issues, take that glyph, and the same with the adrenals, is you put those glyphs on your adrenals, and it will draw out any toxic matter, and it will help balance the energies as well. Okay, so that may help you. And in thyroid problems is an emotional issue. So with the combination of the emotional glyphs and the thyroid glyph, you may not need that anymore.
Check with your doctor.
Yes, yes.
All right, so there's a question from Roxana. Would the ebook be included in the package? Yes, so they're all ebooks, right? Package A is all ebooks.
Right, and then the other ebook that is Sacred Symbols of Mu, and I want to just touch on that briefly, where it's Sacred Symbols of Mu came from. I had a chapel built here on my land where I could have, it's on a vortex, so how powerful vortex, where I could empower the glyphs. And so after they built the place, I thought, well, I would like to have some stained glass windows done. And so I thought, well, I would like something with some importance, you know, something meaningful on there. And so I walked up where in my office where I had a bunch of books on the shelf, and there was a book that had fallen on the floor. And I picked it up without looking, and I just shoved it back on the shelf. And I turned around to walk away, and all of a sudden the book was on the floor again. I heard the book hit the floor. I thought, oh, this is a message. This is a message. So I picked up the book, and it was the Sacred Symbols of Mu. And I opened it and immediately saw the image I wanted on the chapel, and this is it right here. And so I went ahead
Beautiful.
and this book is part of the package because I feel it's important, and I think people need to have that complimentary copy of that Sacred Symbols of Mu.
Awesome, thank you. Josie Ann, do you put the glyphs face up or down?
I face them to the body, but it doesn't seem to matter. When I use the glyph for Candida, I woke up in the morning and I grabbed a half a page of the glyph for Candida because I had a really bad case of Candida. I put it between my hands and I felt the energy going up both arms. So that meant it was working from both sides, the front and the back. And it went all the way up into my brain and I could feel it. I even had Candida in the brain. That's how bad it was. Candida can be all over your body. And it gave me, you could feel it working in the on my brain, and it gave me a headache for a couple minutes. But when I let go of the paper, the headache went away. And I did that for a few days and the Candida was gone.
Awesome. So it doesn't matter, it could be face up or down.
Doesn't matter. See,
doesn't matter.
It just showed me the energy was equal on the front and the back.
Yeah. Tara says, can you combine the glyphs with other healing modalities such as sound, vibration? Absolutely.
Absolutely. You can combine them with anything. And I encourage people to, if you feel like taking Bach flower remedies, take them. They're great, you know, color, Reiki, you know, sound, absolutely. You know. Yeah,
this is just going to complement. It's not going to take away from anything else. So just, yeah, there's no disturbance.
And if you're taking prescription medication and you're using the glyph to remove toxins, it would only remove anything that was harmful for your body. So people say, would it affect the medication? Only if it was harmful for your body. Okay, that's the way it's programmed. Awesome. Same with the vaccinations. It will remove any vaccination that is harmful for your body.
Yeah. Okay, so Agnieszka, what to take for depression?
There's a glyph to remove the sadness, to remove the heartache, and depression can be caused by many different emotional issues. And that will definitely heal depression, because I was really depressed before. I was really depressed. Yeah. And now I haven't been depressed for such a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, there's, again, Agnieszka, start with book 1, which which deals with all the emotions first, right? And yes, it definitely works for remote healing. I mean, like, for example, if I do healing for my husband, it's remote because I'm not doing it on him. I'm not putting it on him as either. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about that before as well, about remote healing. You know, you can use a teddy bear, or you can use just a piece of paper with their name, the intention, and how long. Absolutely, really easy. Dr. Jean, do you want to add a little bit more to that, or?
I don't know, and yeah, because it really works great for remote. But I just saw one about the heart and eyes. The heart. I healed my heart. My heart problem was quite severe. I wanted to go on a sweat lodge, and my guides told me, do not go, your heart cannot stand it. And I thought, oh my God. And I was getting a lot of heart, pain in there. And that really worked for me. But also a doctor in Vermont called me and he said, could you add something to the heart glyph? I said, well, just tell me what you want. And he said to something to where to regulate the heartbeat. And so I added that, and it kept a man from needing a pacemaker. It can help with the pace heart, but also I encourage people, especially over 40, and you want to use numbers, anyone, to use that glyph for the heart, even when you don't need it, because it removes it removes plaque from the arteries and from the heart. And it could help avoid a heart attack. It could avoid heart problems. And I've had 4 friends who have the full set of books who have gone to surgery for their heart. And I said, did you think of using the glyph for the heart? Oh, no, I didn't think of it. And I thought, okay, what can I say? You know, you've got to think of these. So often we turn ourselves over to the medical establishment and we don't think about trying something else. And this is where you want to take control of your healing. You want to take charge. That's when I say, do it right the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. I
do
love
it
that.
Before the surgery.
Yeah, so you don't need the surgery.
Right.
Business prosperity. Yes, we talked a little bit about prosperity before, but business prosperity, same deal. Once you start working with yourself, using the glyphs emotionally, it will help.
Right. You create your reality as you see it, as you create it in your mind, so it will be.
Yeah,
right.
But I think I think there is one specifically for abundance or something like that. There is something like that.
But as you remove anything that would keep you from holding you back in your business.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dave Key, can metals be removed? Can metals in the body be removed? Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's why I say to put it on the top of your head, because Alzheimer's is so related to with aluminum. And so it will pull out any aluminum or the mercury. And there's a couple glyphs in the new book to repair the damage from mercury and lead. Because it's not just a matter of pulling the lead and the mercury out, it's of repairing the damage that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so can you ask someone to try them without them knowing or understanding? Well, you don't want to trick people into using it, so you can, so will it work, or does one have to believe in it? I mean, like.
I tell people, the dogs, it works really well with pets, and they don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
So if you just have to get out of the way, just get out of the way.
And you can do it for them, like if they don't want to do it or they don't know anything about energy or whatever, you can, use it remotely for them. They don't have to know about it. It's a possibility too.
I just saw a question about abdominal issues. I have had irritable bowel problems for years. And so I've been using this fear glyph all the time, and I take a half a page and I put it between my hands. It was just about the size of my hands there. And when you wake up in the morning, there's kind of like a magic time when you're half asleep and half awake. And I call it all channels are open. And I put that between my hands and I laid there for a while. And I felt stuff coming out of my abdomen and out of my legs. And for the first time in years, I am no longer troubled by irritable bowel problems, because that is an emotional issue. Most intestinal issues, almost all intestinal issues, are emotional issues. Crohn's disease, all of them. They're all emotional issues.
Yeah, wow. Good to know. Thank you. Yeah, some great questions. Please do take a look at the packages. They're available again at alara.at/show/Jean11. I mean, really, it's about downloading the ebooks, printing out the table of contents, seeing which one resonates with you. Start with the emotions, and just start using them with the intention of, this is for my highest good, and it's in alignment with my soul. So yes, I believe it works. It's coming from the electrical impulses are coming from the great central sun. All of this information, all of the glyphs were channeled by Dr. Jean. So it's not like she used her mind to do anything with. They were all channeled. So they're coming from the divine. And so play with it, try it out and see for yourself. Because it does work. There's lots of people who are using them. Roxana, you're unmuted. Did you want to say something, Roxana? Okay, maybe it's an accident by mistake. Okay. Jean says, okay, Janine, okay, thanks. I just want my sister to try for epilepsy, but she doesn't believe in this type of thing.
You have to be, again, that's something, if they're not interested, you work with it remotely, asking permission from their soul. The soul is in charge. You think that you don't have to ask permission from the person. You just ask permission, or you say with permission from the soul, and do it discreetly. You don't have to bring it up. You don't have to mention it. You just, Yeah,
absolutely. And so this is about, you're not manipulating, you're not doing anything to them. If it's in alignment with their soul, it will work. Right. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Maribel says, please tell us about for higher consciousness.
Well, there is a glyph for that in the second book, for higher consciousness. Yes. And that has about 2 pages of programming that go with it, which is not in the book. But if you get this other package, the second package, it will be in the programming statements.
Yeah, but the thing is, like we said, start with the chapter with the first book and all the fears, anxiety, all the emotions. That will automatically start to help you to be more aware, right, and expand your consciousness, because you're not being burdened by those lower emotions, right? So as they are being released and coming out of you, you are going to be more aware, you are going to be more intuitive, you are going to be more in touch with what you are, because all that stuff is not there impacting you. Right? And
I just wanted to mention, I'm sure it's all right with Alara. Some people, maybe they're pressed for money and it doesn't, if you just want to get the first package and later on you change your mind and you want to get the rest of it, you can always add to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, just email me, message me, and you can just do an upgrade for package B. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yep, good. I'm glad you mentioned that, Dr. Jean. All right. Wow, that was a full session, full call, lots of questions. Dr. Jean, how do you feel?
Oh, I'm tickled. I want to thank everybody. I love you all. You are just so great to my goal is to get this stuff out there. And what I was told is God wants us to be healed. He wants us to be able to heal ourselves, and he wants us to be able, in control of our ability to heal ourselves. And so this is, it's just so great, because we can do it on our own time and our own power, and we are unlimited. And I just want to remind everybody that you have the power of God. We all have the power to heal ourselves. These glyphs are like stepping stones. They're like stepping stones to help you get there, where you're going to all get there. You're going to get there someday. You're going to wake up and feel like, well, yes, I do have the power of God.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you. And of course, there are 2- and 3-part payment plans available as well for both packages. So again, the packages are available at alara.at/show/Jean11. And again, the profits from the sale of these packages goes to the orphanages that Dr. Jean supports and sponsors in Nepal. So it's a very, it's really helpful to all of them as well. Okay, so, and again, today is Diwali, right? Festival of Lights. It's all about light over darkness, victory over defeat, all wisdom over ignorance, all that wonderful stuff. But mostly for me, it's about, shining our light, being our true selves, being the light that we are, the divine light that we are, and embracing that, shining that out, remembering, like Dr. Jean says, that we are divine and that we are source, we are God, we are whatever word name you'd like to choose, we are that. And we have unlimited power, unlimited possibilities. Anything is possible for us. We do have to believe, though, right? So please believe in yourself. love yourself, accept yourself, be an allowance of life. It is beautiful. It is magnificent. It is magical, truly. So until next time, may you all continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, Dr. Jean. A wonderful show like always. Thank you.
Thank you, Alara. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Much love to everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.